Good morning, good morning. It is Motivation Station with Rose and Sanjay. Rose, good morning to you.
Hello.
How are you today? You look great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And
You're
thank
you're
you
like
again.
you're like upstanding me. I'm gonna have to change my wardrobe. I just wear black t-shirts and then just put on my headphones. That's it. I'm gonna have to show off like a suit or something at this point. How are you today?
So I remember when I was just talking to my friend this morning and saying, like, listen, for the first 6 months of the show, I was constantly getting dancing around and singing and uh, making sure that my outfit is outstanding and I have everything prepped. I'm big on skincare and all this glamorous situation. I said, this is what it was. And then at some point, I started not doing that. I don't know how, when that happened, but I don't know where it was. Maybe it was that situation when I lot of losses, so I kind of lost myself. So I said, you know what? I need to get back to the roots
To the
of the
roots, yes.
show. I
Well,
need to get back to
not just the
feeling.
roots of the show, but ourselves, right? I mean,
That's true.
we're still nailing the roots. I don't think I've been so motivated in my life, to be honest. And it's been some tough
Yeah,
times, right? It's been periods where motivation was lost and like we kind of maybe lost ourselves in a sense. But it feels nice to be able to step back
yeah,
into it and be like, oh yeah, this is us. This is who we were, you know?
exactly. So I said, let me put that back. Listening to David Guetta this morning and getting energized, and I did reset my studio area. I said, you know what? Let me make myself like a beautiful corner and I could just enjoy. I have my beautiful lamp here with the table, coffee time, and my background is. You don't want to see a studio background.
No, it's okay. I saw the studio background. You took me a picture of what your studio background looks like. It looks solid. It looks like a studio, exactly like a studio.
It's like I need my lights, I need my action, and I need my camera. So
Yeah,
it's legit, and I'm sure yours has looked similar. So I say, you know what? Let's raise a little bit our standards. Let's get back to feeling great. Let's get back to vibrate. Let's get back of giving thanks, of feeling grateful, and just getting to know those roots and make them stronger, water them right, and let's just start feeling good for no reason. Right? Focus on good and do good for no reason, right?
yeah. I mean, for me, it's been Oh, I have good news actually. So, I
Ooh,
um, I did get that job that I did apply to. They reached
okay.
out to me Wednesday. I was at the gym. They called me. They're like, "Hey, team
Yeah.
likes you a lot. We know we're looking forward for you to start." And not that like I'm not excited about the job, but like I don't know, just maybe lately because I've just been so tired. Like the guy was like, "Oh, you got the job, good for you." And I was just like, "Yo, yeah, thanks, man." And like he's like, "You don't sound too excited." I was like, "No, I'm excited. I'm tired." Like this whole summer has just kind of been a wash for me. So for me to be able to go back to work, is gonna be a fun thing because it keeps my mind fresh in that sense. Like, hey, be busy, um,
Yeah.
because I mean, as much as I like staying
Amazing.
at home and spending time with like my family, like for me, it felt like I don't feel of use sitting at home. Like yeah, of course I can help my wife with my kid or help take my kid out or help my parents or do whatever
Yes.
there, but like there's so much more I want to do in my life that I'm like, if unless I work and make some money or whatever, like even my filming, right? Like the what is peace and stuff like that. Like unless like um something puts me back to that mentality, like hey, like every day is a grind for yourself. I'll feel like I'm not really doing much, and like like I don't fully utilize my days, like especially when you're not working, like you make the most of it. Like I did some housework. I just bought a new desk that I haven't put together yet, but I am going to put together. Um, and like I just people kept telling me like just enjoy your time at home, but I'm like it's hard for me to just kind of have that mentality to just be like, hey, I'm gonna just relax at home and do nothing. And I was even talking to my wife the other day, and we were just talking about like our schedules at night, because like what we like to do is we both have like gaming friends, but we also make time for ourselves and things like that. And I was telling her, like, when I'm home, like I feel like I don't even have time for myself, because when I'm home, it's like I'm 80% of the time with Lily, and then the other few percent I have is either running errands or going to the gym. And then at night, like we've been getting better at it, but I remember like the beginning of the month was like tough for us to be able to manage the time, because we have our gaming friends, and sometimes we play with them consistently, sometimes we just kind of play games by ourselves, things like that. And it felt like uh, it just didn't feel fulfilling. And we had to talk about it more to kind of talk about what would make it more fulfilling. And a lot of it is now like her and I have some very similar hobbies, which is cool, right? I can share these hobbies with my wife, but like we still have like my kid, so then we have to split the time
Yeah.
that we during the day. My wife and I can't do anything together. Like we can't have like a either like a gaming session. We can't watch a movie together. Like if we're lucky, we can kind of go out and have like a lunch or dinner, but like there's no like us time. And like we're trying to make more of that. And like my kid's about to go to school, so maybe like that'll help a little bit more. Um, but I think a lot of it has been challenging because it's like we really don't get a lot of solo time for ourselves. So it wasn't until recently that I started doing what I used to do before, which was like going out, getting a drink with a friend, or like just going to the waterfront and just sitting and chilling, or just getting a coffee for myself. And I would just sit there and just like kind of ponder about things. So I think one of the biggest things I wanted to do this year was I wanted to film more. And I was like, you know what? If I'm not working, I'll be able to film more because I have time. But how betrayed my own thoughts were that I thought I had time, and I really didn't. And it's more because like there's some factors that come at a cost, and it's like, well, I'm not working right now, so I can't use those costs. So then you have to like be smarter about it, because I don't want to go around spending money that I technically don't even really have, because most of my money just goes to like bills, or like Lily starting school. I just spent like a few $100 getting her school supplies, her outfits, all this stuff, and like everything just starts hitting, and you're just like, ah, shit. At the end of the week, okay, yeah, I can afford like a Happy Meal from McDonald's for today, and that's it. But like I need to be able to like grind, because I think for me, if I go back to work, at least it'll put me in a mentality that's like, hey, um,
Mhm.
like do more. Like I don't know, it's weird because like like there's the whole um like you go to work every day, you get tired. There's that kind of tired, but then there's like a different level of tired that you get when you sit at home all day and don't really do a lot. It's like a different level of tired, and um it's very tough to like fight through. So I figure if I go back to work, that should help. But I'm trying to be positive about it because the job's a good job, the pay is a good pay. I'm actually fortunate as well that one of my friends works near the job as well. So like we're gonna be able to carpool, which means my rides A won't be boring, and B I can actually save up money for something else. Um,
Yes.
I mean a lot of things are coming up that are I think gonna change uh perspectives for me and bring me back to my old roots. So like like I said, going back to work, being able to get a car. I'm about to go to Japan in a few months. Um, it's it's interesting. But I think this was a very awakening experience this summer. And what I think one of the biggest things, and I thank my wife for it, is that I started trying to get my health in order. I think that's like at least for me the biggest positive step I've done this summer is that I was like, you know what, time to face the music. And I finally went to the doctor. The doctor's like, yeah, you really need to get this stuff going. So like, I'm taking care of my diabetes now. I'm about to go to the eye doctor next week, so I can get upgraded glasses. I'm just trying to put everything together. And then I'm about to start work again too in a few weeks. So It's
Seems like
it's
you
been a
have a good
weird it
plan.
it's been a
Yeah,
weird summer, but it's been a helpful one because I've learned a lot about basically everything from like work to friendships to like myself and everything in between. It's been a challenging but interesting summer.
that is. I think you needed that. You think so? Like reset, maybe brain reset is
I did need
what
this.
you
I did need this in the sense that like it was a rude awakening. It was a I thought I had everything down packed. I thought everything was gonna be solid, but like I gotta admit, this is not the first time this something like this has happened where like I had a job like that I loved, everything was set. Like I was just like, now I just gotta do it. I just gotta go every day. And then before I know it, like a rug is swept under my feet. But I think if I was my older self, it would have been harder to get back up. Versus, I'm not saying it wasn't hard now to get back up, but it was definitely more like I had the ability to get back up a little bit better this time around.
Yeah,
And one of
I
the
feel
biggest,
like,
sorry, I was
yeah.
gonna say one of the biggest roots I'm getting back to, and this is the funniest thing. So I'm sure you've noticed too. When we do our podcast and like start stuff from the beginning, I don't have a coffee anymore. I have like water, or like I have like right now I'm having like water with like electrolytes, right? And like yesterday, I was telling my wife that we bought like these Starbucks beans that we can like grind up and make like cold brew, or yeah, whatever, iced coffee. And I was like, I'm
Hmm.
about to go back to making that again because like that was like that actually like kicked me awake. That was actually like delicious. Like I don't know. So normally I was after coffee, I started doing protein shakes for like breakfast more or less. Right? I would make my own. But as of late, the protein shakes just have not been good. So like I'm not enjoying them as much. So now I drink water, and then today I'm like, let me drink water with electrolytes. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to coffee again. I'm gonna just make my coffee, just have it black, and just enjoy that going forward. So it's funny that we're talking about going back to the roots, and I'm like, that's literally what I did when we first started the podcast. Was have Starbucks black coffee or like a mix of almond milk or whatever. But like that's what I was doing. So I gotta go back to that.
My thing is coffee in the morning. It's like coffee in the morning with journaling for me or reading a book. It's just it just creates that coziness, even this Mark says cozy club. Like I am officially calling my next chapter as a cozy era.
Mm,
Why is it cozy? Because I want to be in line with myself from inside out,
mm,
right? And looking at you, I can tell that you are picking the good things, even though the things is not working out the way you want to. Maybe you don't have the energy enough to do what you want to do, maybe not enough time, but you are looking at the good things, you're picking them up, and that creates a pattern thought. Like, okay, things is not that bad. I'm doing this, I'm learning this, I'm going to Japan, the job is aligning, I'm gonna get back and making a little bit more money. It's like it's a thought process, right? And it's like going back to the roots, like I want to go back to the ancient times. Ancient times when it's like proverbs were
mm.
saying all these beautiful things, right? There's so many like Socrates and it's like so many beautiful wisdom that was told to us.
Mhm.
And it's just going back to our family roots too. Like there was in the 50s, 60s, 70s, nobody even thought about how do you feel? There was not a thought.
Yeah.
You just get up and do. And if you're an entrepreneur or you're doing things for yourself, you
Mm,
get up and treat your time like, okay, I'm at work for 8 hours. If I'm doing something on my own business, that means I'm gonna spend in 8 hours those for myself. This is my entrepreneurial time.
yeah.
That's how you treat it.
Mhm.
And that's the difference. And sometimes it's really hard to treat those 8 hours. Okay, I'm home, but those 8 hours is for my entrepreneurial time. So
Mhm.
if I'm filming, or I'm writing a book, or I'm doing something, or I'm building cars, or into which showing how the car works is you set the time and you just do that. And I love that for going back to the roots and looking how our parents did it, grandparents. There was you just go and do it.
I mean, I think there is like an acknowledgement now, especially because, you know, I do appreciate that type of growth because I think it did form and build who I am as a person, right? Because, like now, I mean, I'm not trying to downplay, uh mental health, right? But, mental health is a thing, right? It is important for us to stay mentally strong. And, there's a lot of support systems out there now for mental health. But like for me, and maybe it's because we're maybe from like an older generation, right? Where like we do have that mentality that's like, hey, we need to kick in gear and just go, right? And I think, for me, for personally, was always like life is unfair, right? Like that's what I grew up knowing, is that like life is unfair. Some people have it really good, some people have it really bad, and I'm somewhere in the middle, right? And like whatever we had, I was grateful for. And my parents did teach me that whatever we didn't have, I wasn't like
Hmm.
envious. I wasn't, well, I don't know if envious was the word. I wasn't like actually, was it is the word. Yeah, I wasn't like jealous of what people had, like not once was like, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just the way I grew up, which is a beautiful thing, that like I
Yeah.
was never like um
Yeah.
I was never like I saw someone else have more than what I had, and I was never like, oh, I wish I was part of this family, or I wish my parents were like this, or anything like that, right? Like, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, I never held my parents against anything, in that sense, where I was just like, I wish you provided more to me.
I
Um,
know. Yeah, I know how you feel.
like for me, I think it was that, like, I just, looking back now, I'm even more grateful. But back then, like, I was also grateful, and like my parents did everything in their power to make sure that I was able to be the best version of myself, right? I wasn't the best version of myself, but that's on me. That's not on them, right? So even like the career path that they chose for me and the things like that, like they determined I should be doing. So it was like their best determination based on how they feel about me, even like physically, like my parents like, you're not gonna work at a warehouse. You're not gonna work lifting boxes and doing things like that. Like doing physical jobs is something that is not really your forte. And I I was wishy-washy with that, and I'll explain that in a second. But they were right though, for me to be, hey, get a job that you sit behind a computer and you can type, or you can, do stuff on the back end, do stuff that's like hidden, like, like you don't have to, because like they knew I was kind of embarrassed, being handicapped, right? So it's like you don't want to do a job where you're displaying the handicappedness, right? And the second thing was like, get a job that will not be stressful on your body, right? Little did they know IT was more stressful than a lot of physical jobs, but that's besides the point. But like they just thought that part on me. And then like when I think about it, like just think about it, right? My parents, especially for me, came from a background where they just worked and came home, right? And it wasn't like, let me find a profession that I'm going to grow into and become like you said, like an entrepreneur or like a business person or anything. They said, nope, I'm gonna, like, my dad was a cashier his entire life. I think his highest education was some college, but he was just a cashier. Worked at like stores as a cashier, and I think that's where I learned about how to be humble to people, right? And he was just like a simple cashier. But I remember like sometimes, like, I'm trying to remember this, and it's crazy that I think about it now. But like, like I remember my mom taking us to where he would work, and I think it might have been a matter of just like picking him up from work, but we still had time left over. So like, he gets out of work in like 10, 15 minutes. So it's like, all right, well, we're here, just walk around, just kill time, whatever. And I remember, I don't remember if you remember the store. Actually, I don't know. No, you probably don't. There's a store called Caldor, right? and it's like an old retail store that's kind of like a Target or uh,
Oh, I don't. Hmm.
like a Target, right? Like it had like clothes and food, right? Yeah. And I remember him being cashier there, and they had a food stand there. And I remember every time my mom took us there to pick up my dad, I'd beg my mom like, "Yo, can I get nachos?" And it was like $2-3 at the time. Beautiful times, right? Nachos with cheese, $2-3, right? And I would beg my mom like, "Please let me get these," and she would normally let me get them. But I remember watching my dad being a cashier, always smiling, always having like a positive attitude, always like
Oh,
joking, right? English is not his strong suit, but he would still make the most out of it, right? And I remember like looking at him and smiling and like just remembering that like this is what my mom and dad did that gave me this beautiful house that I live in now, that gave me the opportunity to have this setup in my room. I have my own room, I have my own TV. Like I grew up, like I was able to grow up the way I wanted to, in a sense, because like, so I love video games growing up, right? And let me tell you, that shit was a struggle getting video games when I was younger. Because, like, my parents were like, oh, like when PS1 came out and Xbox came out and all this stuff came out, we couldn't afford it. I couldn't get it. And I had to play either at people's houses or whatever. And I remember
yeah.
when those consoles came out, I begged my mom for a Sega Genesis, which is like the older console now. And I only begged her because it was $30 or $25 at the time. I was like, Mom, please let me get this. She's like, Are you do good in school? I was like, Yeah, yeah, I promise I'll do good in school, blah blah, right? And she eventually got it for me. And I fell in love with video games. And like I think in their eyes they got upset that I fell in love with video games because they're like, You're wasting your time. But oh my god, let me tell you how much video games have done for me, because it's like it gave me peace, right? Which leads me to like things that I talk about on my other podcast, or my other show, not podcast, my other show, that like, and I was telling my wife, like, video games gives me peace because it puts me in a whole different perspective. It puts me in a whole different world. My mind's in a whole different place. You got to use critical thinking to get through things. You got to think outside the box to escape some situations. You got to solve some puzzles. There's so much different things to do from video games that I learned at an early age. And like even I watched my kid, right? And people are like, You're crazy for letting a 4-year-old play video games. I was like, nah. Like my kid will play these games and like I'll like, hey, this is how you do this. And she'll pick it up right away. Right? And like now even like it's a dangerous thing. She knows how to use phones pretty operational. Like she knows how to like swipe up apps, close apps, do whatever. Um and it's like a hit or miss mark. Like sometimes I'm like, it's good that you're learning technology. Then I also have to flip it because like sometimes, like the other day she was very sassy to me, and it was because she watches videos where people are sassy to authority or whatever, right? So she was trying to be sassy to me, and like she's like I told, like, so what happened was that I have a phone charger and it started messing up, and I'm like, dude, you're too aggressive plugging in the charger. You got to be more careful with this stuff. And she's like, I don't gotta be careful. You gotta get like better things. And I was like, Yo, watch what you're saying. I was like, put that tone down a little bit. Watch what you're saying. I was like, I could take this phone. I was like, I could take this phone away from you, right? And she's like, Okay, well, I'll just play with your Switch. I was like, You know what? Walk away. I was like, Go play with your toys. You're not allowed to play with any of my stuff right now. And she got upset, and like she started playing with her toys and things. And the thing, like, I mean, I handled it like, I got upset because I was like, Hey, you broke a really good charger. Like, I don't really have money right now, dude. Like, I gotta charge my phone the old way, the old slow charging way, and things like that. And like her phone was dying. I was like, dude, you don't have a phone anymore. Like, your phone is dead. Like, I can't charge it right now. And I had to tell her. Like, I went out with one of my friends afterward, but before I went out, I sat with her. I was like, I want you to know that that upset me. You gotta watch how you talk to me, and you gotta watch how you talk to your mom. You gotta watch how you talk to like my parents, and especially since you're starting school, you gotta watch how you say things. Because I was like, the wrong kid is gonna hit you, and if you hit back, okay. But like, if I find out that you were the cause of a problem, it's gonna be a big deal. You know, like my friend disagreed with me, and it's cool that they did it. My kid, well, I like to say will, right, but should never hit first, never, right. And if she does, it's gonna be a problem. But I did teach my kid to defend herself. So I told me and my wife and I agree. If somebody hits my kid's gonna swing back. You know. And I have people who disagree with me because they're a little bit younger, they're a little bit more like I don't want to say empathetic, but maybe like empathetic, because it's like violence is not the answer. And I'm like, no, I agree that violence is not the answer, but
Depends on situation, huh?
I give proper authority to defend yourself. Like I would, if like somebody swung at me, like I would probably try to swing back. How much damage I do is a whole different story. But like you know, like I don't believe to be like the first. Like I don't think violence is a resolution in that sense. You know. But anyway, so she was like you know, like sassy there, so I had to like tone her down. And I'm sitting there, and like you know, even my mom is impressed by the way, but like my daughter's growing, because she's like, you know, in a way, she reminds me of me, right? She's like, she reminds me of you, and I'm like, okay. And she's just like, well, because like, she's very, she thinks things through before she says something. You know what I mean? Like she's like very uh the word I'm looking for. She looks from a perspective that's not her sometimes, and she finds that interesting. But then there's other times where she is a little bit too much of a goofball, my mom says, but she's like, she gets that from you. And I'm like, yeah, I get that because I'm very goofbally, you know? But anyway, yeah, I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with? Oh, yeah, so my parents, right? Yeah,
Oops.
my dad worked like that. My mom worked in a shipping factory. Like she worked in a factory where they box stuff and ship it out. And she did this shit. At first, it was like Chinaware stuff, and then it was like perfumes, but it was essentially always the same type of job where it was like she worked at a factory of shipping of a nature, so she would like box things, tape them, go on, right? She never complained once about her job, nor did my dad. They had tough days, they had absolutely, they had tough ass days where they were exhausted. They came home, put on a strong face, did it again the next day. Like I, compared to them, am nothing, right? Because when I worked jobs in the past, the littlest inconvenience, I'd be like, yo, I'm not going in today. F that place. I'm going to take the day off. I'm going to take a personal day, right? My parents didn't know what the hell a personal day was, you know? Like my mom and dad literally only called out sick when they were bedridden. Like they couldn't get out of bed. Like their body was so heavy and they were so sick that they couldn't get out of bed. And like they would somehow recover in a day. I think like as they got older, my mom might have had one, like she might have had COVID. I think my mom and dad had COVID at one point that they were actually in bed for like a few days or like 2 3 days max. But like throughout their entire like career and time working, one day like they would be sick and the next day they would still feel slightly sick but still go to work. You know? And just the consistency, man. Let me tell you something. There's no matching consistency to that generation ever, right? Like I can't be that consistent the way my parents were every single
Yep.
day. Go in, come back home, cook dinner, clean dishes, watch TV for an hour, go to bed, do it again the next day, right? Weekends, I mean, I think my parents felt guilty in a sense that they didn't give us a life of mm, luxury, right? So what I mean by that is like being able to travel, right? Like I didn't know what the hell Disneyland and stuff like that was when I was growing up. We went to Six Flags, right? Six Flags Great Adventures, Six Flags Great Adventure. But like you know, like for them, their weekend, their getaway. You know, we didn't really go out to restaurants and eat. We didn't
Hmm.
really go out. Like though we either visited family, we went to India for vacation, or we would do like super one-off vacations uh like I said, Great Adventure, go to Six Flags, right? And I think in their head it was their version of like this is what we can give you guys. And I wasn't ungrateful for it, and I never really asked to go anywhere else. I wasn't like, oh, I want to go to Europe with you guys or anything like that. I just kind of traveled with them and that's it. And like I said, it wasn't until my 30s, right? So just like within the last decade that I started being I started giving back in a sense, right? So, and then my entire life, my parents were like, "Hey, the money you make is your money. Like here and there, give us some money for like bills I've taken over, like phone bills and car and stuff like that. But like, they're like, just give us some bills for like the taxes for the house, the water for the house, stuff like that. But I remember, I think I told the story before where I took my mom on vacation, and like I had asked her, I was like, "Hey, do you want to come with us to Cape May?" And she's like, "Are you offering to take me on vacation?" And I was like, "Holy shit! It's been 30 something years, and this is the first time I told my mom, hey, come on vacation with my family, with my wife and my kid, right?" And I thought about it, and I was like, she was so out of her element that like she didn't know what to do. Like we would go somewhere shopping or go somewhere to get food, and she would just be like, "Oh, I'll pay for this." And I was like, "Nah, I'll pay for it. It's your vacation, you know?" Because it's like whenever I went with her on vacation, when we went to India or whatever, I didn't pay anything. They gave me money to spend, right? So we'd go to the city in India, and she'd be like, "Here's like 500 rupees. Like, go do whatever you want." And what I would end up doing is I'll get some snacks or whatever, and the rest I just kind of gave to homeless people, or like I would buy people food, and then I would just do what I can, and it goes a long way. 500 rupees goes a long way there. And like when I was on vacation here, my mom's like, "All right, well, let me at least pay for this one dinner that we had," and we had dinner. But like I appreciate the fact that she was able to explore something completely different. Like I
Yeah.
would take her to like the aquarium. I would take her to like Cape May, and like I want to actually go to Poconos. Like hopefully maybe in the fall, I'll take my parents, get a Airbnb, go to Poconos. We can go
Beautiful.
on a hike. We can do stuff like that.
Beautiful time.
And
Also.
and it just like the more I talk about it, the more I'm passionate about it, and it revives like my roots, like to remind me like damn, like my parents did all this without like no one really checked in on them, you know. Like I remember my parents had some bad days. Like my mom and dad would fight bad fights, and there was never a point that you know hit. Like now you can go to like couples therapy, marriage therapy, right? You can start taking medicinal stuff, right, to help with like your mentality, uh there's so many different things here. But back then, like you just like fight and like walk away to breathe it off and then come back and then just live, continue doing your stuff, right? I do remember one day when I think I was still old enough to have the conversation with my cousins, but my mom and dad had a big fight, and I don't know what they fought about. But she said, she told my brother and I get in the car, and we just left, and we went to like my cousin's house, and my mom was there for like hours talking to my aunt and uncle about whatever was going on. I was too little to understand. So like I just hung out with my cousins, and I kept telling them, I was like, yeah, like my mom was driving crazy. Like she like floored it out of the driveway and then floored it down the street. I've never seen my mom drive fast like that, you know? So I was kind of like, I don't know what the hell's happening. But I just remember, like, honestly, they just sucked it. I remember nights where like, the kitchen is right below my bedroom. And I remember going to sleep, and there's nights I could hear like my mom crying.
Oh,
And back then, like, she didn't have anybody to talk to. It was like family, right? She made some friends at work and whatnot, but it wasn't like so personable that she ever got that close. So like I think about it, I'm just like, for my mom to still become the woman she is now after everything she's been through, like I'm so fucking proud. Even my dad. Like it's crazy because also like they flipped roles. So when my dad was younger, oh, when my mom and dad were younger, my dad was the threatening one. I was always scared of my dad. I never wanted to go against his bad side. I never wanted to do anything wrong that would like get me in trouble with my dad. I was fucking terrified of my dad, so I always went to my mom. For some reason, after late 20s, yeah, about like the late 20s going into my 30s, especially having my kid, my mom became the more threatening one, and then my dad became the soft one. So now it's
mhm.
it's funny how much they change roles, but I think it's because like they grew up a certain way where like my mom was soft, my dad was hard. Now they're at the age that like we're a little bit more tired. So my dad's a lot softer. My mom is a little bit tough, just because like I think in her eyes we're still kids. Like my brother and I are still kids, and like my brother, he's living his life, he's doing his thing, he's not married and things like that. And hey, you do you, right? But like in my mom's eyes, it's like you're not being like I don't want to say an adult, but you're not like you're not married, you don't have a kid, you're not living a family life, whereas like your younger brother is. Like my mom is very happy and impressed that I have a kid and I have a wife, and they're both great people, and like she's like grateful for it, but she's like, you need to like get your shit together to hold your family up. You know what I mean? And like I remember, like my parents are super traditional. Like, we live in an age where we're not, and I think it's mainly because we also live in America where we can kind of do what we want, right? But I remember my, it's a funny story, but a lot of traditional people will also agree with this. So, my my neighbor, right, is he's cool to hang out with, and like I got to know him, and like he's gay, which is fine. I don't do whatever, right? But it was funny because one day, like he was having some tough times, so I was like, hey, let's hang out more. Let's go out to eat. Let's go out to drink. He loves doing karaoke, right? Ironically, so like my wife loves doing karaoke. If I get drunk enough, I'll do karaoke too, right? But like
Beautifully.
my wife was like, I want to go karaoke, and I was like, well, honestly, I don't. So if you want to go, you can go, and if you want to go with him, he'll take you, right? So her and my wife went out to go karaoke, and like they had my blessing. Like I didn't care. Like go do it, right? But if you think about it, there's a stigma there. There's a guy who's not my wife is going out with a guy who's not the husband, right? And they go out, and there's a stigma there, right? And to me, I was like, first of all, I trust my wife enough to go out, have fun, uh, whether it's a guy or girl. I don't, for me, it's like if I know the person, it's not gonna really bother me, and I know the person, right? But to my parents, they're like, where did your wife go? I was like, oh, they went to go to do karaoke, like at a local bar. And I think she came home kind of like a late-ish, like around like not late, like 11, 12. It starts at 9, right? So when you're doing karaoke, it just flies by. Time just flies by. You don't know what
Yeah,
time it is, right? So 2 3 hours
absolutely.
is like what, 3 songs if you're lucky. So my dad kept coming to me, and he's just like, where is she? Why is she not home? I'm like, yo, what's the big deal? They're just doing karaoke. But in his eyes is, no, your wife went out with another guy. While in my head it's like, yeah, my wife went out with a gay guy. I'm okay with this. Like I don't think anything weird is gonna happen, and I trust the guy. Even if the guy wasn't gay, if I didn't trust the guy, that's a different thing for me, right? But if I trust the guy, I also have to trust my wife enough to be like, you're not gonna do anything funny, which I do, you know. So I was like, y'all are just going. Look, I don't like sushi. If she has friends that are guys or girls and that like sushi, listen, by all means, go out, go have sushi, because your husband is not gonna eat sushi. Go have fun. Go enjoy yourself, right? And like honestly, if I was put in a position where I was uncomfortable, then we talk about it. And that's literally what we do. If it's a place that, if I go out with a coworker who's like a girl, right? And she's like, you know what, I don't like you doing that. Okay, we'll talk about it. And like, I don't have to go out with the girl. My wife is more important than that. But like, if I have like a coworker who's having a bad day, she understands. She's like, all right, yeah, go out, check in on me. We'll talk, whatever. But like, I know that stigma is there, but a lot of communications kind of helps with that a little bit. But anyway, long story short, like they came from like that kind of background. So it's just like, they're very traditional about these things. So
Yeah.
between what existed then and now it is different. But I think it's important to have the roots, but I think it's also important to like be with the times. Like I have a platonic best friend that's a girl, right? Not romantically involved, not anything like I'm gonna get with her, right? And she knows my family. In fact, we play games sometimes together, like her, my wife, her friend, and herself. And we talk every day, and like we uphold each other pretty damn well. And like her birthday just passed, and I like, I sent her gifts and stuff like that. I actually like I sent a video from like with Lily and Christine, just like saying happy birthday to her and stuff like that. She's like, oh, that really made my day. Like it's a weird stigma to have a girl that's a best friend, but like we just really like when times get tough, we lean on each other, and it's a beautiful thing, you know. And like even now, like ever since my wife got into gaming, like she started making more friends too, and I'm like, it's nice to have friends because your partner can't be everything, and it's unfortunately true. And I'm not trying to downplay people's partners or things like that, but like it's important to have friends. It really is. It really is. And like she's starting to understand that more. Like the other day we were talking, and I have one friend that I essentially play video games with like 2 or 3 days a week, right? Because we just hop in, we play grindy games where you have to put a lot of time and effort into the game. And recently she made a few friends. From one of the friends was my old friend, and like we still play games, but like she got close to my wife, and they introduced another friend. And the other day, my wife was telling me that, oh yeah, we played games like 4 days in a row. And then she's like, oh Sanjay, like sometimes she's like, I actually enjoy playing games with them more than I thought. And like, she's like, I actually like, not that she doesn't want to spend time with me, but she's like, I enjoy my time with them more. And I was like, good for you. I'm so happy for you, because I was like so excited for her to have people to kind of like hang out with and talk. And like literally we sit next to each other as we game, right? So then like I can hear the conversations and stuff that are happening, right? So like as they're talking, like I hear her getting a little bit more personal in her conversations. And she's like, oh yeah, when I had my kid, I was like this, blah blah. And I was like, good for you. I'm happy that you're opening up to people. And like by in a regular standard, I guess in like a traditional way, people really wouldn't do that. You just, once you have your family, it's just like that's your family and that's it. But I was like, nah, it's important that you know people. Like we go out with couples all the time for dinner and we just like talk and bullshit. Sometimes it's parents, sometimes it's people who aren't parents. Sometimes it's people who like karaoke, sometimes it's people who like Korean barbecue. Like we try to connect. Like we don't like having a huge circle of friends, but it's sometimes like it's just nice to just like get away, right? For either me to get away, for her to get away. And that's why, like, fortunately I have a partner that loves the things I love. So like when it comes to like tonight, for example, right? Like we're starting to plan things to the T, that like we're like, okay, one of us puts Lily to sleep, and the other person who's not putting Lily to sleep, that's your time, do whatever you want. But when we do that, it's always, okay, well, I'm gonna go play games with my friends. So I'm like, all right, go play games with your friends, I'm gonna put Lily to sleep. And we trade off. One day it's me, one day it's her, one day it's me, one day it's her, right? um and it's a nice little thing that I think brings us a little bit of peace, brings us a little bit of joy. And that's what started happening within at least the last few weeks. That's been changing like my perspective of this entire summer being kind of a wash, right? um but going back to the root of things, and before I do that, so I meant to say Christine's comment before which was, I'm not yelling at Lily if she defends herself. Good for her. Exactly. If somebody swings at her, I told Lily, I was like, listen, you can knock somebody out. I don't care at that point. And I'll be honest, it's not that I'd ever, hit her myself. Maybe discipline her, but if I do something that's out of line, I expect her to swing at me. I expect her to just be like, nah, pops, this is not the way it rolls. Um, hey, uh, Morgan, welcome. Bonjour. I was able to hang out with Morgan. Morgan knows my family too. Morgan is another one that is like, I don't have a title for Morgan, but she has become like quite essential, like
A soul
a
sister.
family member. Like she is like I don't know, like I don't have a title for Morgan, right?
Soul
The
sister.
the yeah, that's as close as it gets, to be honest. And it's funny because like she's such a, I want to say fan. She's such a fan of Christine because she just loves Christine. Like she thinks Christine is the most interesting person on earth. And I was like, are you sure about that? Like, are you sure about, like, I always I always tell her that. If Christine gets mad, she's like, see, I'm interesting. I was like, yeah, I don't know. But like Morgan, like hand on heart, Morgan, every single day we talk, every single day. And it's like without a miss. And like it was not until this year that Morgan and I have been friends for, Morgan, we've been friends for almost 4 years now, 4 or 5 years, right? And yeah, Morgan says I'm a pain in the ass. Yeah, well, you know what? No, but um
Pizza.
it was
Or
just
Peter
this
bread.
year. It was this year that we started like playing games together. So we would play the game of life. And like Morgan finally got to play games with Christine, and she had a blast. And it's funny, like it's such a simple game that Lily can play. And I told Morgan, I was like, Morgan, I trust you enough that you can play with me and Christine for this game, and we would have a good time. And you could talk to my daughter and everything. And just yesterday was like the first day in a while that I hung out with Morgan, and we were able to play like a good amount of game time, and we had a lot of fun. But like, I don't have a title. Like, I don't think I want to give Morgan a title at all, right? And Morgan is just like, she's like my, I call her Morgan Bear. Like she's my Morgan Bear, and that's it. And that's what I call her. And she calls me Sunju. And like that's, it's like a nickname that like people like, and people genuinely say it, and I haven't heard it in years, and until she said it. So like, we talk about like
Sandra.
things like that. But like the other funny thing, and I don't know, I don't remember like when it started, right? But we love each other, right? Like I say I love you, and she says she loves me, but we don't say with those exact words, right? We use the broccoli emoji, like a little broccoli icon. And it's funny because it's such a unique
Okay,
thing.
let's see the broccoli in the chat.
It's such a unique thing, and I forgot when and where we started it, but that's our version of I love you, is we just say broccoli, right? And we actually say it sometimes too. There'll be days that we play games and we're about to call it a night, and we'll just be like, oh, good game, thanks for playing, broccoli, broccoli, and we'll just say broccoli. And it's like the silliest thing, but it's our little thing. And I appreciate it. See, look, she just drops the broccolis, and it's just, there it is.
I just dropped it for you. Everybody, from now on, we're gonna start dropping
No, you don't do
broccoli.
that. That is my special thing with Morgan. You guys can don't do eggplant either. That eggplant's kind of weird. Just sunflowers.
What?
But anyway,
Integration. Yeah.
uh, was under the impression that Sunji is an affectionate way to say Sunjay. Do you mean Sunju? Oh yeah, Sunju. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, honestly, it is. And the only person that called me Sunju, Morgan, was my cousin, and that was the only time I really heard it. Like my two cousins that are like local to me, and that was like the only time I heard it. And I missed hearing it until I met you, and then you started saying it again. So I guess it was a nice rekindling to hear that again. Anyway, back to what we're saying. So a mix of like an old root thinking of that sense and the way things are going now has definitely helped with my growth, I want to say. And another thing I did was like I think, especially since like a brother of mine passed away, this year, it kind of that the time period from when he passed away to, I mean, I think I'm finally recovering. I think I can finally say that, right? But it took a few months, but like it was it made me feel like I had to rush things in life. It made me feel like, I mean, time is of a essence, right? We don't know when we're gonna go. We don't know what's gonna happen, when and where, right? But I think it scared me to the point that I started rushing things in life, and I wasn't prepared to rush my life because I have nothing that I can rush with. If anything, and I don't want to say this in a dark way, if anything, the way I was rushing myself to the grave. Like it scared me so much that I felt like I had to keep doing it. I had to like just like, hey, like my friend just passed away. Like my time can go anytime. My time can come anytime, and it scared the crap out of me that I just started pushing for things, right? So one of the biggest things I started to do was, so there's a film I wanted to shoot, right? Like I told you, it's like a weird John Wick spin-off. I wrote a script, and like I was aiming to film it June, never happened. July, never happened. August, never happened, right? And I was like, I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna schedule when I'm gonna film it. It's gonna be next year, right? And if it happens, great. If it doesn't, that's fine, right? But I told myself, give myself a deadline. Start next year. And the reason I wanted to do that next year was because I really wanted to get my health in order. I wanted to get my body ready for the filming I wanted to do, you know? Because in a way, I have such a great idea. And even when I was talking to my friends, they're like, "Hey, like, that's a cool idea to film. That's a cool thing to do, right?" But they're like, in their head, they're like, but Sanjay, if somebody else acted for you as the main character, maybe that would be more fun. And I was like, I don't know, man. I know I have a disability, but I want to show what I can do with my disability. Yeah, I can hire somebody who's not disabled, who's physically fit, who can do some of the stuff I want to do on film. But I feel like it'd make it more special if I could do it, you know? So I told myself, put that on pause. I'll do it next year, get my body in order. And once again, I want to do shout out to my wife because I have been on a healthier track going to the gym. Like I'm looking at myself now, even on like the our podcast, watching the stream. Like I can see the difference in like my kind of like my neck, more or less, my neck, and like there's just like my face overall. Like I don't look as tired anymore. I don't look as um I look healthier in a sense. I mean, if my Indian family sees me, they're like, you look sick, you look too skinny, right? but like I lost not a lot. Well, I lost like 15 pounds this summer, like over the
Okay.
course. Yeah, yeah, over the course of like 2 years, because I did some crazy fasting and things like that. I know this sounds chaotic. I think I said it on my podcast a few weeks ago that like my A1C was like your highest A1C number that could be read is 15. It can't be read over 15. If you have over 15, it just tells you, hey, you have over 15. That's it, right? And my A1C was over 15. So I did my blood work 2 weeks ago, right? After I started my diet back in June, I did my blood work 2 weeks ago, and my A1C was down to a 12 something. Now it's still high. It's still very unhealthy. It's still like critically like your body's being damaged, but it's lower than what my original reading was. So the damage is done, unfortunately, right? I don't know how much better it'll get, but I can at least fight for it to be at least a little bit healthier, to be living a little bit longer. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to at least work on that, and I want to thank you too, Morgan. That I think I like. I mean, not that I think, but like you were a very strong influence for me to want to get that back on track as well, because when we first met, we were both more like I was already down and out about it, and you were more like, "Hey, shit happens. Like life takes me away. Life takes me away." But I think I see more life in you, especially over the years. You know, like you started fulfilling your life a lot more. You traveled. You're staying in a new place. You know, you met some new people in your life. You have a partner that you love, and like you're getting your health in order too. Like even going the critical route, and it's been an influence to me to be like, you know what, I want to do the same. And a lot of it's like eventually, I hope I come visit you and I stay out there for like a week or something, and we're able to go out to eat, we're able to hang out locally, we're able to chat and laugh and just have good times. I think that's the important thing. All right, there's a bunch of comments. I'm gonna read that. So yeah, I agree. To Rose, don't steal our broccoli. All right, we'll fight you. Um,
Oh,
my thing is I'm still here today. I have today. Yes, I'm more grateful for my todays than I have ever been. And I listen, like you said it before, the days that my gratitude is higher than my expectations. Holy shit, Morgan, I have great days. And that's what I've been trying to do. You can hire me and watch me fall down. Exactly, that'd be great fun. No joking. No wait, you um I remember Morgan had she was in the States not too long ago, and she had fallen, and she was hurt, but she was able to recover. And her mom was like, "Let me get you a traveling nurse to like take you back home." And she had almost offered to allow me to be her caretaker while she travels back home. But she's like, no, but you have a family and stuff like that. My mom prefers like a nurse. But I was like, the amount of trouble you and I could have got into, Morgan, would have been fun, but we would have ended up back at the ER. Uh, make a character for me. I could. You know what? Honestly, I could. If you're up for it, you're getting there. It took me forever to get to a 7. Yeah, I mean, the fact that the thing is like I said before, the fact that you're trying is such a beautiful thing, and it motivates me to try to do better too. And I think there's a big lean on like us taking care of each other in that sense to feel better. So I I broccoli you, and I appreciate that. All right, well that's me talking about um yeah, mom nicks that. Yeah, no, exactly. We'll get it together. Just you gotta tell me when. We'll talk later. Anyway, I talked about how much of roots affected me for about a half hour straight, Rose. Now it's
yeah,
your turn.
it's
Now
okay.
it's your turn. How
I love
roots
that.
have, yes.
I love that because when you get into talking, it's like, you know what? Let them talk. Like, I'm the
You
type of
know that I
person,
know that I need it. So that's why I know you let me do it.
but because in the beginning, like right in the beginning, we were just starting a show, like, I had a mixed feeling about that. And I was like, why is he still talking? Like, where can I say something, right?
No, you listen.
And
It
then
shut me down sometimes.
and then
Listen,
because
just like, hey,
when I
Sanjay,
have
Sanjay, I
certain
got something to say.
idea that I didn't want to forget, it's like if I don't say it now, and I will never say it or I will forget or anything like that. And I was like, And I love that after obviously certain period of time, I said, let him do what he does because that's how the show was created of being authentic, of being raw, and also having no pressure. Like if I keep pressuring myself of asking myself why he's doing this and doing that, it's gonna bother me. It's not gonna be any good. And then I did let that go. I let that go. I said, you know what? It's okay.
Mm.
He needs to let it out. That's how it that's how it feels. And that's the show is
No,
about
but I mean,
being raw.
I we gotta also have a mix of it. Like, I mean, not trying to cut you off, but that's what's happened to me a few times. And what I started doing is I keep a notebook on the side to
Waterfall.
remember a topic,
Okay.
and then just kind of like bring that up when I can. But I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm just saying, like, you know me, I keep going, so you have to stop me.
It's one of the things I've learned when I speak. I give that 3 second pause. That see if the person's thinking in what I'm saying, cut that attention, and continue the conversation. And it's just me learning about communication, learning of obviously of being on the show almost 2 years, guys. We're almost here for 2 years. I've learned, a little bit more about life, a little bit more about camera, a little bit more about how to straight a look, right? Not playing with my hair, not constantly moving. It's like it's so many things. And also obviously I've learned how to be in in the show with you, right? It's like if I'm by myself, it's a different story. When you're by yourself, it's a different story. But when we're together, it's something about being together in this show brings out the motivation station, right? It's you and me. It's they call it tandem, right? So we're going back to our topic roots. That when you started the conversation saying about that, you looked out other kids had more than what your parents could provide. I felt the same way,
Mm.
right? Breaking down your conversation. It's like when I had a girl that her parents were giving her always allowance money. I never had any allowance money.
Same.
It's only I
Yeah.
had is my mom that worked so hard and she needed to provide not only for herself, she had 3 kids. She had first child having a child already with a wife and she had other siblings like that moved from the village. She had so much for so much a little that she was making. She was making like $50 a month
Mm.
and she was still was able to
Yeah. Yeah.
push everybody, pull everybody, feed everybody, and give. Yes, I didn't have jeans, a variety of jeans. Maybe it was one jeans once in 5 years.
Yeah.
But it was. I had a roof over my head. I had uh, food to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like I was living outside in the cold, had nothing to wear. I'm grateful for that. And she taught me a lot. Obviously, we've learned humbleness. We love that generation. And it's like if you've done something wrong, you need to get that smacking your butt and saying, hey,
Yeah.
I like the way you treat Lily because, hey, you're sassy, but you need to understand why you're sassy and why you're being violent. It's not like, oh, let me talk about it. You cannot be violent. No, sometimes the kid needs to understand.
Yeah.
You're gonna stand
Discipline.
in a corner for 10 minutes just because
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
what you did wasn't right. So glad I remember everything. So I've learned over the years in show to listen more. Remember in the beginning, I wasn't listening. I was an active listener. I was like somewhere
Mm.
else. And so learning things like that definitely helps us. You got 3 minutes.
You know. Yeah.
That's not
She's like,
more
hey,
than
we're gonna
more
let
than
go.
I'm going to
Uh,
take my time.
it's like, thanks, Rose, for your 3 minute input. All right, guys, see you guys next week, and just cut you off. No, no, no. Go on, go on.
So and I appreciate the roots that we appreciate those generations. Every generation has something to offer, right? Every generation.
Yeah.
We're grabbing a little bit from everyone, even nowadays generation. The amount of smartness and picking up everything and just like being it's like it's amazing, right? So we appreciate that. my mom also worked. She never complained, never sick days. Every single day for 44 years, she was a goods of manager. And then when she retired that job, she was still working. She running a store, uh, running other little grocery, and then I was helping her to run that, working with her to be able to learn how to start work early and appreciating the work. My first entrepreneurial experience when I was 11, I was picking up the glass bottles, liquor bottles, whatever bottles, beer bottles, and sending it to, when you recycle, get paid
Yeah, yeah,
for each bottle. That's what I did with my cousin. And I was be able to, she lived in a different city. It's 40 minutes away on the bus. So we get the bus tickets. I'm sure you've heard the story. And getting a little snacks for the bus ride. That was my first entrepreneurial experience. That was the best experience I ever had. And I was only 11, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. It's awesome.
It's
Yeah,
like, and start working at 12, working in school, summer times, giving out the flyers. That was my another job. And then when I was 16, I was fully working as a cashier, so I definitely understood what being cashier means.
yeah.
And, working with paperwork with my mom. I'm probably the best at paperwork. You give me any paperwork, I'm the best at paperwork. Because that was my mom's field. And I've learned that you never throw out a paperwork
Yeah.
any of your bills, at least for a year. So, make sure, yes, I paid, I have the proof. So that's the best part. And just appreciating the roots is it's appreciating not just our roots. Also, I see you that you started creating your own roots,
Mm.
right? That is also getting there. It's growing and it's settling down because the way you uh, treat your daughter, the way you treat your wife, you guys building that combination, the bond, the communication, right? It's also very important. Now I hear you. Now I really hear you. I hear you silent.
Mm.
So it's amazing. And of course, Morgan, my 3 minutes.
3 minutes. It's over. No more talking. No joke. Um, no, I mean, like it's the uh the roots. You're right.
Broccoli.
That
I
the
broccoli you, Morgan.
the whoa, no joking. The the roots that you're right. Like I didn't actually even look at it in that way because in a way I'm paving like my own tree, right? My own roots of a tree that my daughter is gonna carry through and be like, you know what? Like my dad did it this way, my grandfather did it this way, And
You're gonna collect the
if I
fruits of labor.
listen, and not to down talk it or anything, but if I somehow at some point become a grandparent, right? Imagine like a kid coming to me saying grandpa is like a whole different thing. I'm just that's out of my mind right now, but like we're essentially just paving that for the future, you know and I going back to it, and I know you can say the same thing, and even like your mom would say the same thing about you, that we're both creating such a beautiful continuation of their story, that you're doing great. Like I hope you know that, like I know life hasn't been fair and easy, but like it's not. I wish I could say it's just a shout out to like me and my experience, but I've known you for an X amount of time now. We start doing the podcast
Okay.
for yeah oh yeah, it is gonna be it's a decade this year. I think I met you in
It is
2016.
already decade.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And like from then till now, right? But not even just then till now, you just within the last few years of this podcast, right? Like I see your mother, right? It's hard for me to even like be like, I like physically I know she's not around, right? Like I know that. I know that. We know that. But it doesn't feel that way because you're here. I don't know. I hope that makes sense. But like I see the way you act. I see the way you dress. I see the way you're very passionate about culture and like food and like people, right? And like I mean, like I remember the episode that she was on when you showed her on camera, right? I remember her smiling. I remember you smiling, and it was like if you put them side by side, you like tell the difference, and you're gonna be like, no, there is no difference. This is the same person. So I think that's the roots I see that you're coming from. I like, as much as like I have talked a half hour about my roots and my parents and stuff like that, right? The roots that you hold with your mother is is
Never
obviously
give up.
different. It is different, right? But it's so powerful. It's such a beautiful thing, and like 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 me, like that's why I got passionate about it today, and I talked a lot about it today because I'm realizing how much I am actually connecting to my roots. For you, it's more natural. It's more like I am the roots, right? For me, it's like I'm becoming my roots. For you, it's no, I am the roots and I'm making them stronger. So I think that's why it's such a beautiful thing. That's why for you it might be easier and simpler for you to talk about it in 5-10 minutes than it was for me for like a half hour. But please, by all means, shut me up if I talk too much, because you know how I am. But I am at least proud of myself that I stayed on topic for that entire spiel, right? But like, just because it's been a little bit over an hour doesn't mean we have to stop. So I know we try to aim for a hard stop, but we can obviously continue talking. It's not that big of a deal. And if you have things to say, we talk about it. Do want to read the comments. That's one thing I haven't done, is stay on top of that. That's funny. I save papers forever. Years later, I throw them away and say that that was 6 years ago. Why do I still have that? Yeah, Morgan, I know you're an advocate of keeping some of the older stuff, but
You
I
know
I
what? Sometimes we need to keep that. Like,
yeah,
I have so much of an educational. I like writing, so I have so much of a writing,
yeah, that's true.
like so
Yeah,
many journals, so many like educations. Every single webinar that I take, that nowadays especially, there's so many webinars that are free, and every time I listen to something, I need to jot down notes. There's notes, notes after notes. Like, you
yeah,
can read it, you can learn from it. That's for you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Certain
not.
things do
I,
need
I
to
I'm
go, but
not.
I do have
Yeah, go ahead.
bills even since 2007, my first checks. I have the bills from 2012. I have the bills from every apartment that I lived. Just saying, I should not be out loud, but I'm just saying, if I need to prove where I lived, I
Yeah,
have to, you know. And thankfully, my mom taught me that, because sometimes we just throw things out. Oh, everything's digital and electronic. Sometimes we lose that too, and then you have no power. My mom always said, if you have no paper, you have no power, right?
it's a very
Like, without
accurate
paper, you're
thing.
nobody. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and
No,
I'm like, you know
it's
what?
important.
It's great to learn, to appreciate the roots and of learn what they've done and grab that with us, because a lot of things were, if it's broken, fix it. You
Yes,
know, just
yes,
go get a new one. You
yeah,
know, if you hurt, it's gonna be okay. The mentality is never give up mentality, being strong mentality, not complaining mentality.
yeah.
Think about now. Now people like, oh, my whatever hurts, and it's like, oh my God, let me take off for 6 months. I'm like, what are you talking about, right? Put a band-aid on it. Get out. Get back to work. What are you doing?
I
So,
think I think for that there's like a level of it. I No, I agree with you though, okay? Because like I have people in my life that I know have a struggle that like I'm starting to understand, and it's not just like, hey, I'm struggling, like I'm starting to understand. But I do also agree that a lot of people do take advantage of, like, hey, like my pinky hurts, I'm gonna take a week off. It's like, all right, like my dad. I remember once, right? Sorry, quick story is that my dad was cleaning once in the house
Mhm.
and he accidentally stabbed himself with a knife in his hand, and it left like an ugly scar. Like he had to go get stitches, right? He did all that one day. He went to work the next day. I was like, yo, like take a few days to recover. Like you stabbed yourself. He's like, nah, I'm fine. I'm just gonna go. But yeah, to your point of saving papers, I agree that's important. I've become such a digitalized person. I rely on all that stuff. But it's funny because a the one thing I do, which I was telling you before, sometimes we have these conversations, whether it's like me, you, or the guest, and there's things that pop up that I'm like, oh, I want to talk about, and then I forget. So what I do now is I keep a notebook by me. I write the guest's name or I write the podcast episode. If you start saying something that, like, right now you talked about papers. Oh yeah, I have a story. but keep it short, whatever. But like I just remember to write it down. But I think that's also important too, because honestly, and I'm sure you all will agree with me, um, I don't do that, right? And it's something I should be doing because I do a lot of grocery shopping, right? Shop with family. And I'm always like, damn, I'm spending a lot of money. Like, what the hell am I spending money on? And how long does it last? But now what I started doing was I save my receipt for whatever I buy, and then I count off when did I eat this? How long did it last me? Do I need to buy it every week, or is this like an every other week item? Because there's some foods
Mhm.
like I get like cookies, right? Like I don't eat cookies as much. I get Oreos, right? Because sometimes I have a craving, and when I eat Oreos, I eat one Oreo. Like that's my fulfillment, right? So if I get a box of Oreos, that shit will last me a month, except for if my kid eats it, right? But I don't need to buy Oreos every week. And for a while, I was doing that, and I was like, why do I have so many Oreos? And it's like, I really have to count for what I need. And even like, I'm not gonna go too intimate or too deep on this, right? My wife has like, you know, woman. You get womanhood stuff. You need to buy her stuff per month, whatever, right? And I'm like, instead of like buying one when it's not on sale, buy it in bulk. It doesn't go bad. Just like keep it so then in the future we could save a few bucks, 10, $20. And after I doing that, I started saving like a few $100 every month, and it goes a long way. But it's because I started keeping my receipts, and I was like, you know what, let me read this instead. But like I said, I am a very digital person, so even like receipts or things I write down, I take a picture of and put it into like my online catalog, so then I can
Yeah, you
find it
can use
easier.
a fetch app.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, it's like for grocery, it's very easy. You create a menu first. On the menu, you create a shopping list, and then with that shopping list, you go out shopping. And if you buy something extra, just one, no,
yeah.
just whatever's on the list. Of course, it never happens, but
No, never. I mean, I started budgeting too, but even then,
but
I haven't been great at it.
this is my menu for 3 days. This is the list what I'm gonna use on for that menu. The rest I already have what I need. You don't need to buy spices every day, flowers or whatever. That's the way they were living in the 50s. That's the
Yeah,
way they knew what they go like every time. Like I look at this generation, like, right? I'm looking at my partner's mom, and she's like, she knows exactly what she's going to cook tomorrow, after tomorrow, and she knows exactly what she needs or she already have. She has the list. She goes and she buys only what she needs.
that's what I should. That's what I've been trying to do.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know what? In the end of the day, you only spend maybe $20, $30. Because all you need is maybe can of tomatoes for the pasta for the pasta sauce, and maybe you all needed it just a ground beef to make those meatballs. That's
Yeah,
it, and maybe onions and
yeah.
peppers. That's it. You know,
Um, yeah. So back to yeah. So I just want to
with the
recap. So
roots.
Morgan says that yeah, that's when she saved paper. I have piles of notebooks full of thoughts and just things and things I liked at the time, book titles, songs, people's names, on and on. And then she mentions, oh my god, Oreos that have cookies with Reese's peanut butter middle now. Yeah, that's another thing too.
Crazy.
But that's a different conversation
I
that we
never
could talk
see
about a different day. The mixes of this junk food that are happening are almost a crime, but they're delicious, but they will kill me.
Yes,
Like I
it's a
listen,
crime.
I
It's a
what was
marketing
it?
crime.
So I'll put something lightly, right? So like, I like Oreos, I like Snickers, right? I like Twix, right? And then people are like, you know what? Let's make it even more deliciously worse.
Yeah,
Let's fry
let's
them.
just mix it all.
No, 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 no. Let's fry them. And now I had fried Oreos or fried Twix, and I'm like mad as I'm eating them, dying from this, right? But it's delicious. I'm like, who thought like, what was it? Somebody like eating like a Twix and accidentally dropped it into batter and it fried it, and they're like, you know what? This is an idea. Entrepreneurize it. There you go. But yeah, yo, no, these cookies that have like peanut butter cups in the middle, or like you know what I saw recently? Somebody took an Oreo, got marshmallow fluff, right? Dipped the entire cookie into the marshmallow fluff, and then put it over a fire. So then it would like kind of, how you make like toasted marshmallows. It was a
Yes,
toasted marshmallow Oreo.
most.
Oh, s'mores is how is as complicated as it should have been. Now there's like 7 different ways to s'mores. Like yeah, you put a marshmallow and chocolate, and then you put some sprinkles on there, and then put a fried Twix and some golden graham crackers, and it's like yo, come on, just stop. Like there's so much sugar and carbs in here. It's delicious. I'll eat it, but please stop. Oh man. And not only that, Morgan,
Wow.
I don't know how it's like that for you over there, but they have half of this stuff right at the aisle when I'm checking out. Like, hey, did you forget to have some cookies here? It's
Yeah,
like,
you
damn,
forgot. You forgot.
damn,
You
I
forgot to
did.
part Twix.
I mean that's its own marketing thing.
Wow.
That's what restaurants, grocery stores do. They
My
put
mom
everything.
loves sweets so much. We have every single sweets in the world. Like
Uh,
we're talking about candy. Every candy that, no, not the commercial candy, the Twix or Snickers or anything like that was overpriced. Back then for us it was very overpriced. But the regular, like we have the regular candies, like pear candy. You know those smoked candies,
yeah, yeah.
like, and then it's like chocolate candies with, and then there was different like of cookies, and it was so much. I think I because she was eating it so much, she loved it. Obviously, it was her thing with the tea. I think I oversaw it, so I'm not really into. I mean, it was an era when I was into Rafaela and Ferrero Rocher and all these hazelnut,
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful
yeah, 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 yeah.
chocolate. Now I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Now it's about dark chocolate.
Oh no,
Maybe
100. Oh yeah, hundred
I
percent.
would grow that because I love Twix. Who doesn't? I love
Yeah.
Reese's Cup. I like M&Ms and all that. But I'm like, is it really good for you? Not really. Yes, it tastes good and it's a good thing, but let's get back to the dark chocolate.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well,
glad
yeah.
that I outgrew that, uh, having candy every day mode. So
So
if I
like I
don't
mean,
buy it, I don't need
like
it.
definitely when I was like younger, even when I was younger, I was blessed enough to not spoil myself with candy, and my parents also did not spoil me with candy, right? And I think the interesting part, and I somehow connects right back to the roots, right? That like I I like candy. I'll have it like very rarely, but I do like candy, right? But my kid, she doesn't like too many sweets. Like she doesn't have a sweet tooth. Like she'll eat like if I give her if I buy okay. So when I was a kid, if I bought a bag of Skittles, it would be finished within maybe a few days, right? Because I would just like snack at it like a snack, which you shouldn't, but
Yeah.
I did. If I buy a bag of Skittles for my kid, it lasts like 2 weeks. Cause my mom watches her do it too, but we gave her sort of free will about how much you can eat, right? And we kind of at first limited it, and then we kind of gave her like free will, like so not daily, maybe every other day or so. She'll have dinner, she'll have lunch. Like we make sure she eats her main food before she has a dessert. Her dessert is 3 Skittles, like
Wow.
three Skittles, and that's it. And out of those three, she comes upstairs and she gives me one. So she really only has two, and that's it for the day. Like I used to whatever candy I mean a Reese's cup, it's 2 cups, right? Even that, I'm sure I could take a small bite and save. But let's admit it, I can eat both Reese's cup in one bite if I try. Okay, but like like the candy she gets, like M&Ms or like Skittles and stuff like that. First of all, she doesn't like getting it all the time, and when she gets it, these things last a long time. you know. But like when I was a kid, I used to eat it like all the time. I'm just gonna say the funniest thing right now. So Christine is trying to be out of the camera, right? And like my camera's blurred, right? But like she's she's crawled in. She's crawled in to be like, I don't want to be seen. But all you see is a blurred figure trying to. She looks like she's trying to charge her phone, and now she's trying to nonchalantly shut the door. I see it all. So like I appreciate the level of secrecy that she tried to do there, but we all saw it, Christine. Let me just point that out. But anyway,
Funny.
but like I'm happy that like I give my kid like, hey, you want candy? Get it. She's like, nah, I'm all right. Like I'm okay. But I agree with you. The other thing with dark chocolate also, depending on the level of darkness you get. But yeah, if you get like if you eat one block, like one little, like little block of dark chocolate, not every day, but like maybe like every other day and stuff. It's actually really good for your health. Just like a what
It
like
is.
one an occasional red glass of wine is also good for your heart. Um, but when it comes down to it, a lot of it is about moderation. Which, if you want, I don't think I have a guest next week. I have a call next week with somebody. I don't know if they're gonna be a guest. We could
Next we're
talk.
gonna celebrate my birthday with all that chocolate. Let's go.
Yes, absolutely. I will. I'll PayPal you some money, and you go out and have some chocolate. You know what? I'll buy chocolate too, and on the podcast we'll eat some chocolate. Next podcast we can talk about the importance of moderation for eating stuff that we love, and we could continue to talk about it. I think that would be
We
pretty
could
fun.
talk
Why not?
about food all the
When's
time, all day
the last
long.
time? Listen, the last time we did a food
Motivation
podcast.
food corner.
Yeah, exactly. Motivation Station Food Corner. The last time we talked about food, the main times we've talked about food was when Bev was on, when Beverly was on, who I still have to go see
Yes,
in person, right? And remember
yes.
her showing us the garden and stuff like that, and like,
My
I think on
tomatoes
Instagram
maybe
I've
will
seen,
be
yeah,
red, maybe, but next week.
yeah.
My cucumbers.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there you go. Bring that stuff on board. I'll show you the stuff that we grow in our backyard. But anyway, it's just it's I appreciate being able to look back to my roots now, and and then I see you like I'm seeing my roots, right? And you're living your roots, right? Even your outfit you're wearing, your mom's looking at you right now like, yo, that's a fire outfit. There's a reason why you put that on today. There was we didn't even talk about this, right? I literally connected with you 10 minutes before the podcast, like, hey, let's go, let's connect, let's do this now. And you show up wearing this, and I was like, oh, what's the occasion? And you're just like, like I haven't worn this in a while. Like, it'd be nice to go back to the roots. I was like,
First time
boom,
wearing it.
we're going
Let's
back to
go.
the
It's been
roots.
sitting there waiting.
But like,
Yeah.
listen, let's put it this way: what you're wearing right now is something your mom would rock, and your mom would rock it just like you did. And that shit is fire. So
Thank you.
looks good.
Yes. Motivation Station. We're creating our own roots here on Motivation Station.
That's a big thing
Thank you,
too. Yeah.
Morgan, being part of the branch. You're part of our branch and our tree. And here we are. We're almost approaching 100 of episodes.
Yes.
We are definitely approaching yours and my birthday. And we're also approaching 2 years of being Motivation Station on YouTube. And one of the best things we've done for our roots in Motivation Station, we are very consistent. We are here every single week. We didn't miss the episode for any reason, which is great. Like being our old generational, right? We don't have 6 days, 6 days. We have no giving up, being still motivated and passionate about Motivation Station, being here, sharing, being raw, authentic. This is what we are. And this is amazing, amazing. Being 2 years old, getting to the hundreds of episodes pretty soon. And the best part is, for me, obviously, next week, my birthday is, I'm going to be turning age when my mom age gave birth to me. So it's 38.
Yeah.
38 is that a beautiful number that episode 38, if you want to rewatch, you can rewatch, is when I praised my mom. Is the how everything synchronically worked. I was still shook about that. That even you ask, 38 means anything to you? It means everything to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I called my next chapter in my life cozy era. It's when I vibrate, cozy from inside and out.
Yeah.
So that's why I reset my studio area. I cleared everything. I donated a lot of things, and I'm gonna keep donating a lot of things. The way I set up my other areas of my sphere in my life, when I wrote everything down, when I wrote down my values, when I keep reading these amazing books, even the book that I'm reading right now, one of the beautiful quotes that I read in here, which made me like, wow, we need to give thanks every minute of our lives. We do not give enough thanks. No matter what is wrong in your life, there's always something for which to give thanks. I
Yeah.
want to give thanks to my roots. I want to give thanks to your roots. I want to give thanks to the roots we're creating.
Mm.
I want to give thanks to the roots of Motivation Station, our beautiful branches of all of people that are watching us every single Saturday or when they have time, listening us on Spotify. We hear every Saturday, 11 a.m. Morgan, of course, it's my speech.
She makes it. I think for her it's like 4 p.m. or something like that. Yeah, yeah.
and and like, share, support our channel. That really helps a lot to move us forward with the likes, comments, sharing, and of course, hit that bell notification so you never miss an episode. And I want to thank Adam for being our guest last week.
Yes.
And Adam does amazing woodwork. And what he did, he made me a beautiful pen engraved, a burnt engraved cursive, my name in it. And he is sending it to me this week. For some reason this year, everyone is sending me something.
Yeah, listen,
Packages.
that's good.
There's packages coming from Tajikistan. There's package coming from other countries, like sending parcels this year. I was like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. That definitely I didn't. I never expect anything, right, Morgan? We can have gratitude than expectation. So I love that.
Mm.
And so thank you so much, of course, to you and to me for letting you speak. And you always have this brilliant um, stories
Oh yeah, no, I have
and
too
to
many.
share.
I've been telling you, I have too many. I can make a whole
I'm glad
movie out of the stories.
I'll let you speak and
No, no, no. I
I
should have
love
let you speak. That was on me. So
that's
I'm
okay.
happy we got that
I
going. But
love that.
I also agree that
I love listening
like you said,
and I
like
love summarizing and sharing my messages that come along.
yeah,
It's intuitively coming and that channeling. It's also, I feel like everything that we say, it's always when it's needed,
yes,
you know,
yes.
right timing, right moment. It's exactly what we need to talk about today.
Mm.
You know, we don't push. It just comes out naturally. I love that part.
I think as of the later episodes, especially, they're like I said, I have people reach out to me on Reddit and they watch it. They're like, your show just feels so natural. I'm like, yeah, well, like we don't. There's nothing scripted. Like we just kind of we like I've actually had people reach out to me on Reddit and they're just like, I don't know if I'm good enough to be on your show. And I was like, what does that mean? I was like, what does it mean to be good enough on our show? I was like, you just hop in. And like when I do interviews with them, right? I do like a quick 10 to 15 minute interview like, "Hey, just tell me about yourself." And they're like, "Yeah, I'm just like this. I'm no one interesting." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "You're the most interesting. What are you talking about?" And like, you know what they said though? They said especially like the later episodes like they've seen because like obviously when people watch like your show, right? Like when they're like they know about you, they either watch the first few episodes or they watch the first few last episodes to see where everything is at, right? And they're just like, there's such a natural vibe to your show that like if we come in and we talk about it, it just feels like a conversation. And I'm like I literally explain it the same way every time. I'm like, it's as if we both got coffee at a coffee shop. We sat down separately, and I was like, you know what? I want to sit next to you. Is that okay? Cool. All right. Tell me your name. Tell me, tell me about yourself. And we just start talking, and then things just go, right? And I remember, I think you mentioned, and if Adam watches this episode, he'll hear it too, and I'll tell him after as well. But I know you had mentioned that Adam was nervous, and I could tell he was nervous. But after a while, Adam just started being Adam. He just started talking about like stuff that he was passionate about, stuff that he cares about, the stuff that makes him happy, the stuff that like brings care to him, right? And it just felt so natural. I mean, I get being nervous. I was always afraid to be in front of the camera. I'm still afraid to be in front of the camera. But the fact that Motivation Station for us, I'm talking to Rose, and then some people join, and then I talk to some people, and yeah, I'm on camera, but I don't even remember that I'm on camera.
No.
I just feel like we're here, we're drinking our drinks, we're chilling, we're talking about our lives, and we share stories, we share laughter, we share
I love
tears. It's just like it's like I said, for me it's my own therapy at the end. But
yeah,
back to what you're
yeah.
saying, the fact that like we're building our own roots, like the roots we're creating here is such a beautiful thing. And I think these roots are getting intertwined with what you said as like, we're giving back to our roots. I'm creating a root, you're creating roots, and now Motivation Station is becoming part of our roots. Motivation Station is becoming part of our story. One day, somebody in the future is gonna look at us and be
Amazing
like,
story.
"Have you watched this show? They're up to like episode 300. Have you watched them?" You know, I mean, one day, hey, who knows? Maybe one day I'll bless my daughter and pass this show down to her and be like, hey, you take the torch, you continue the show. Imagine how cool that would be, you know? But this leaves like I agree with you and I agree with Morgan. Every day is special, every moment is special. Take it day by day. But this is the stuff that keeps me going, and
Yes,
it's always motivating, it's always ongoing, and like you said, like every time we I without fail I can say after every episode that we've done, we leave happier than we leave at more at peace than we did when we first started the episode. Not that we weren't at peace or anything like that, but we leave in a better present.
I
And
definitely
that's
can
actually
say for myself, this is one of the brightest moments of the week. We're talking about high and lows,
yeah,
highlights. Definitely a motivation station for me was always since the beginning was the most uh, energized, motivated, and highlight of the week. And after the show, you always want to create. You want to do more. You want to say hello. Say hello.
she does.
Hello.
She is cute.
So you always want to. It just gives so much energy. And of course, now I build it like a studio. It's like I feel like I'm definitely like filming it, right? And it's an amazing feeling. And I love what we do.
Yeah, no,
And
I
we're
get
gonna
it.
continue loving what we do because it's us. It's us doing what we love. You love filming. I love being on camera.
It's natural.
It's needed to be. It
You
needed
like
to
filming,
be.
I like being on
You know,
camera. It just goes together. Like
it's
peanut
like
butter and jelly, yeah.
yeah. And I don't feel like it's a camera. It's like, it's not like I'm filming
No,
studio
yeah,
or something.
yeah.
But
I
it
mean,
feels amazing. It feels
we put some effort into the work we do, but like it feels so natural. It really does, and I think that's why. Like I thought about it, and like even my friend was like, "Hey, we should do a podcast," and I'm like, I don't know if I can, and not that because I can't do a podcast with him. It's just that like he's like, "Oh, we'll talk about this and that," but I'm just like, "Yeah, but we can only talk about this and that to a certain like we could do an episode, but I don't know if I could do a whole a podcast repeatedly. Like with me and you, we've done 96 episodes, and like more or less every episode has been different, and like some link back and things like that. But it's just like with like when I think about like how I've done, especially motivation station, a coffee talk, a talk about motivation, and talk about getting to know people, a talk about like our lives and connecting. I couldn't have done it like without you. Like I really couldn't, you know. Um, Rose, I mean, not Rose, Morgan made a joke. She said, in the future, Lulu will have the episode. On today's guest, my guest is Grandpa Sanjay, and then that's what Lily. That's pretty good. I like that. After the show, I always have so
you
much
go.
I want to
Pasta
say that
and
I
shake.
don't think of during the show. I know that happens to us all the time, man. When you
Gotta
care
write it
about
down.
this, the time,
Take a picture.
yeah, right.
Send it to us.
And you go,
We
sorry,
want to,
right.
we want to, we want to read it.
Yeah, that's another thing. Hey, I actually appreciate that too, Rose. Is that like what Morgan said? I appreciate that we're both doing our own thing too. Like you're doing your other your other channels, and like you have your health, and then your um like like makeup, and,
I don't
like
think
things like that.
I think in the end of the day we have our own lives, and let's not forget that it's not like I do not like being controlled, and I'm stepping into areas that I'm not controlling. I'm letting it be. So which means that we do 3 hours, let's say 3 hours, whatever it could be more and whatever. 3 hours on Saturday for this particular moment. It's now, it's here, it's motivation station, it's us, it's I do behind the scene work, you do behind the scene work. We come here, we share our lives, we do the episodes, and we motivate others to do. But because of we do outside work and other things for ourselves, we expand our mind and we bring more to the show. I don't think it should be like just like you gotta do only this. We only
No.
doing this. You're not
No,
allowed to
no,
do
no,
anything
no, no,
else. You
no,
know,
no, no.
like other
So
people do that, you
I'm
know?
not saying that at
Yeah.
all. I'm just saying the fact that I think the stuff like the like motivation station has actually motivated me to do other stuff as well.
More
Is
things.
what I'm saying. I'm not saying
Absolutely.
like your other stuff was like a bad thing or anything like that, or like one motivates the other. But like what I'm saying is like it puts a level just like you know like I know Morgan checks in on like the other work that you do, which is a beautiful thing,
Thank you. Thank you,
you know.
Morgan.
And that's all I meant. I
Like
didn't mean
that.
like, oh yeah, there's like a level of controlling or like a level of, hey, I gotta do this,
Yeah,
hey,
like
I
I don't
gotta do that. No,
understand
no,
how other companies do that. Like you're only allowed to do this.
nah,
You
do
can
whatever you
do
want.
nothing else.
What the fuck?
Like, what do you
Like,
mean? This is my life.
I mean, like in a sense, I understand that, right? It's like like you can't have two full-time jobs like that. You can't have two full-time jobs, right? Because you don't have the time to do all that stuff. It's 80 hours a week when you do anything, right? But like that's not what I meant at all, even remotely. I just meant
I
like
got you.
it's
Yeah.
fact that like, hey, like my what is peace has nothing to do with this, but because I do motivation station, I feel so freaking motivated to do stuff. Now I feel like I could do what is peace. I could do my filming. I could go to the gym. I could eat healthy, stuff like that. That's all I meant, and that's why I was like, motivation
Yes.
station is like just our
Cozier.
like, hey, we come in, we do it, and we leave. I agree with you, and but like, it's not even just a matter of coming in, doing it, and leaving. We come in, we do it great. We have a great time. We're excited. We're happy about it, and then we leave, and that that
Okay, I
that
heard you.
brings that
Almost
brings
done.
us to our next thing. Yeah, I don't want to take up too much time. We went a little bit over, but I'm happy we were able to get a lot of
Yes.
this out. But yeah, no, next week I gotta check if you have a guest, and we'll confirm that. But if not, I would love to talk more about indulging in the good things in life, especially when it comes to like food or sweets or
Yes.
moderation and then levels of that. Um, but again, so we appreciate you guys coming through, hanging out, talking with us. Listen, like I said, it makes my day every day on Saturday. Like I feel so much better at the end of the podcast. I can go out and do the rest of my things.
For sure.
Um, we appreciate you coming by live or watching after. Like Rose said, we're on Spotify, so you can listen to us anytime. Tune in on YouTube whenever you want as well. And yeah, we appreciate and we love you guys. So
Thank
cheers.
you and cheers.
I missed my water, but cheers.
Cozy Club. It's a cozy club here. We are cozy inside out. We love you from the bottom of our heart. Thank you for
Mm,
always being here. 11 a.m. every Saturday with two, which is two things
there
outside
you go.
water. Um,
And
so
next week I will go back to my coffee and be more back on my coffee. So I'll be happy about that. But we appreciate you guys coming through, hanging out, having some good laughs, and sharing the stories. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a motivated day.
bye bye. Have a motivated day. Cheers.